so much.
Here.
Okay, if you would stand for the pledge, remain standing for the invocation. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, again, we thank you for the privilege to serve this community. We pray for wisdom and guidance and stability for each thing we do tonight. We pray in your name. Amen. All right, are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to make a change if possible.
Okay.
Item number 10, new business. We probably got some people here that need to go to work tomorrow early, but can we move number 10 up as close as possible to the front so that they can get out of here when we're done with it?
All right, where would you like to move to? After administrative vote, is that all right?
That sounds good.
All right, is everybody all right with that? Tom? Jim? All right. Except for that change, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Okay, we have a motion by Ryan, is there a second? Second by Jim. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Okay, Jim makes a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ron. Further discussion. All in favor, signify.
I believe that he wants to add this.
Do you have an invoice that came?
Yeah, the invoice that came.
Oh, okay.
It's for the court reporter that we're required to have the shade meeting and the bill payment for firm, and it's just to pass through, there's no add-ons to it.
Okay, all right. So we're back to with the consent agenda plus this bill for the court report.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Jim, you still all right with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with the motion to approve the bill for,
Second still. Ron? Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, moving to item 3, presentations. CAFR presentation. Darlene?
Hi, good evening.
Oh,
My name is Darlene Mulaney. I am the Director of Finance Services with Palm Beach County Clerk and Comptroller's Office, and I'm a state representative for the GFOA. I'm honored to be here today on behalf of the Government Finance Officers Association to present the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting to the town of Waxahachie Groves. The Certificate of Achievement program has been in operation since 1946. The purpose of the program is to encourage and assist governments to prepare financial reports of the highest quality for the benefit of citizens and other parties with vital interest in government finances. During the half a century the program has operated, it has gained widespread recognition as the premier indicator of excellence in government accounting and financial reporting. To earn the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting, the town had to substantially conform to the program's demanding criteria, which go well beyond the minimum requirements of generally accepted accounting principles. The receipt of this award reflects the professionalism and commitment of numerous individuals as well as many hours of hard work. It also reflects a high degree of dedication and leadership on the part of Underwood management. The Government Finance Officers Association hopes that this award to the town of Waxahachie Groves will serve as an example and encourage others to strive to the same high standards in their own financial reports. Therefore, it is my privilege on behalf of the Government Finance Officers Association to present the town of Waxahachie Groves this Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. Congratulations.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
yeah, we're gonna get a picture.
Okay. Make sure we got it right set up. You get it?
One more.
Hey, Bill,
in that picture too?
Sure, get up.
Okay, you got my skinny side, right, Bill?
That's right.
Seems like there's a lot of awarding tonight, but anyway, sometimes it happens. This next one is a certificate of appreciation for outstanding support for Read for the Record to Mayor Browning from the Literacy Coalition by Jeannie Haviland. Now, a little background on this. 2 years ago, my lovely wife thought this was a great idea. Now, I love to read, and I'm all for kids learning to read. So she heard about this program where the mayors of the town read stories to the kids in the local elementary schools. So 2 years ago, the book was Llama Llama Red Pajamas. So you know what I got roped into? I read to the kids of Loxahatchee Groves Elementary School and the daycare right down there on Okeechobee in red pajamas. Dressed up as Llama Llama Red Pajamas. Now last year we did the same thing, but fortunately it was a Bumblebee type book and we got the teachers to dress up. So that time I didn't have to dress up. But anyway, Jeannie.
Good evening. I'm Jeannie Haviland with the Literacy Coalition of Palm Beach County. And on behalf of the coalition, I want to thank Loxahatchee Groves for your participation in Read for the Record. This is a nationwide campaign to get preschool children to read the same book on the same day. As the mayor said, the book was Ladybug Girl and the Bug Squad. You read to 110 children at the 2 sites. You were actually second. We have a little competition among all the municipalities in the county. You were second for the small cities. And I want to present you with this certificate of appreciation.
All right. And my wife is going to come up.
And you did dress up. We have photographs of your mayor as Bumblebee Boy, and is he cute?
It wasn't quite as intense as I love a lot of red pajamas, but anyway.
What's
that?
I can't wait till next year. We don't know. We don't select the book. Make it a good one. Pardon? Make it a good one.
We never got that far yet. No, we don't.
Good. Thank you.
We have some more Ladybug Squad books for you to read and share with the community.
That'll be awesome. Plus, I've got 2 granddaughters that love it.
Okay. And we'd also like to encourage Loxahatchee Groves to continue their participation with literacy. We're starting a countywide campaign for grade level reading late this month, and we hope that someone from Loxahatchee Groves will participate. In fact, I think Sharon Browning is your liaison. And this campaign focuses on 3 critical things that children need to be ready for school, and that's preparing children to be ready for kindergarten, consistent school attendance, and summer learning. Children can lose up to a month of learning if they don't have access to academic activities over the summer break. We also want to invite you to participate in Pink Shirt Day, which is February 27th, and that's another national campaign to bring about awareness of anti-bullying efforts. And you're halfway to Lake Okeechobee, so we certainly hope some of you will cycle in our Loop to Lake for Literacy fundraiser February 23rd. That's a cycling event around Lake Okeechobee. Do you cycle? Any of the council members?
It's got a motor on it, yeah.
Wow, don't let me.
Okay. Well, thank you again for all your efforts for this.
Thank you very much. All right, moving to South Florida Water Management presentation.
Your Honor, I received a call from South Florida Water Management today. Apparently they had some crisis situation that came up and they had asked if they could defer their presentation to February.
Okay, that's fine. And then we move to the last but definitely not least, a proclamation for volunteers. We have 3 volunteers, John Choquette from CNC Loader, Elise Ryan for Color Garden Farms, and Jim Rocket from Weston Nursery. And they had a major part in putting together a float that we entered in the holiday parade. The town of Loxahatchee won first place for the best decorated. And so it was a lot of fun throwing candy to the kids and getting exposure for the town. So the three of you, come up. Okay. Elise, on behalf of the town of Moxentee Grove, Jim, John, thank you very much for your efforts. Okay, moving on to financial committee.
And Your Honor,
Elise?
before Elise comes up and gives her report, if I can just give a brief overview of the committee, and then she can go ahead. What you have in your agenda packet under this item, what we did do is we provided to you the exact agenda that we provided to the FAC. As you know, you had indicated at your last meeting, council had indicated that we take this item to the FAC and receive their input. So what you have in that agenda is you have the original memo that I sent to the FAC committee kind of discussing the issue. And the management company put together a series of 3 charts. Generally what had happened was we used the Florida League of Cities salary survey as some secondary data, and then we backed it up with a bunch of phone calls to a number of local cities in Palm Beach County, local municipalities, to get a sample of 19 municipalities. And you do see that in the chart titled Florida and Palm Beach County elected official compensation benefits. We then have a bar chart which shows you how the numbers shake out. And then finally, the last page of that agenda was annual compensation options for council members. And there were 3 options. One was wages, one was an auto and actually transportation and communication allowance, and the third was a monthly meeting stipend. The FAAC did deliberate on it and did go for option 2 with a higher adjustment, which translates, as I indicated in the agenda report, to $500 a month for each council member, which translates to $6,000 a year, which translates to an annual expenditure of $30,000 a year. So with that, I'll turn to Elise, and she can go ahead and give some of the thoughts behind the FAAC on that.
And quick question, then we're going to treat it as an agenda item and talk about it?
Yes, we need to talk about it tonight, because, you know, if you're so inclined to go with something, Mike and I need that final direction so we can get it ready and have it.
Elise?
Yeah, thank you. And Mark's already explained the methodology that was used. Town management had provided us with comparable cities with similar population. We looked at what their compensation to the town was. And we had a very powerful discussion, I think, about appropriateness, whether, we should or shouldn't, and, what the feelings of the community might be, but we did, one thing that I think everybody agreed on is that you all spend your own money on behalf of this town. And we do know, I know that from experience, that if you're an elected official, you get phone calls anytime there's a problem. You end up driving all over the place to people's houses to see things. You drive to League of Cities meetings, you drive to Elmley for the League of Cities picnics. You meet with the legislators, so you're driving. You get nothing for that. Not to mention the fact that you talk on the phone. You use your own gas. You use cartridges from your printer. And all of that you do without any compensation. And we definitely felt that you all deserve to be compensated, and that the town does have the financial ability to make a payment. And so what we recommended out of the 3 alternatives was option 2, which was an automobile and communication allowance. And what that would do is you would receive a payment from the town, and it would be reported on 1099, and you could then deduct your expenses associated with the town, which could be mileage, could be, your monthly cell phone bill, your, cartridges for your printer, because we all know they run up very quickly, they're expensive. That was really the thought behind it, because we felt like, people can argue about whether you should be paid compensation or not, but you don't have to pay to work here. And that was our feeling. And I think, when we started talking about, well, how much should we pay? Should it be, $200, should it be $300? And then we looked at the average, and we said, we're making a financial recommendation. We're not, that's what we're doing. We're telling you as your finance committee that this is the average, that other cities of this type, and we upped it $25, mainly to just round it off. And we knew that we didn't want that number, you could change it, but we felt that you, we believe, and I certainly believe, that our town council works harder than most of the other municipalities around here. And certainly you're driving more miles because, if you look at another town of a population of 3,000, the examples are like Highland Beach, who, how far do they drive? There are very few rural towns like ours that have a small population. So there's no doubt in my mind that you're putting a lot more miles on your vehicle, than other people. So that was really our rationale. I don't know if you have any questions or.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Elise. Comments by council members? Nobody has any comments? All right, I'll give you comments. Go ahead.
When this was brought up, that discussion concluded when I said if the council wants to pursue this, then we asked the finance committee to make a recommendation. And I go along with whatever the council decided, but I didn't think it was appropriate for us to be paid. We definitely incur costs. All the examples that Elise mentioned there and there, we all have those costs. So if you're trying to, and the allowance, I think is the way to go. I don't want to see us having a payment where it's taxable and the town's going through FICA and all that taxes, and that'll bring the cost anyway. But if with the recommendation of the finance committee, if we're trying to basically recover costs, then my recommendation is that we would make it a small amount per month, and then it would be more appropriate for the costs that we incur. I believe one of the comments that Mr. Mayor made in that discussion was something along the line of $100 per meeting. Might be something you might think about. I was thinking that I would suggest the number drop to $250 per month, which would take $30,000 that we were talking about spending and make it 15. I also reflecting on that we struggled a little bit with our sanitation contract. We were able to save $28,000. I'd like not to just turn around and spend it on something, but we're able to. I'd rather conserve a little bit. So my recommendation, and prepared to make a motion that we would make it on $250 per council first meeting per month, an annual max of $15,000 for the whole council. And that in addition to my recommendations that we would only do it for 12 months, see how it goes, take another look at it in January of next year, and have the council take a look at the amount, whether we continue it, but only do it on a 12-month basis, so that it's not an ongoing expense that we have every year until we decide.
Anybody else?
I'll be honest with you, if you're gonna give us anything, our PAC committee recommended $500 a month. I can tell you, most of you in this room know me, okay? I $500 a month for what I try and do for Los Angeles would help out, but $500 a month does not hurt our budget. I agree with Jim about a 12-month basis. In other words, the main thing I look at is whether the people in this town think we deserve it or not. We've definitely got the money in the bank. We have a hard time wanting to spend it to benefit you people out there. So I would prefer the $500 a month to make it worthwhile. And I would prefer that at the end of the year, if the fact committee says that we can't afford it anymore, and the people of Waxahachie don't want us to have it, then we don't get it the next year. But no, you know, $500 a month is not too much to ask out of this town for the money that we have.
Tom, anything? Okay, Brian?
Pretty much feel the same way as Ron.
Okay. My thoughts that I still come back to, you know, I've served on this board for, this is 6th year, with no compensation. To me, the $100 a meeting is fine. You know, I appreciate the finance committee doing that. The Waxahachie Groves is different than any other community in our county. We're not the same. We share responsibilities with the Water Control Board, so it's not like we've got all of it right here. My thought on the $100 a meeting was, if we have a month with one meeting, that's great. Everybody's safe. If we happen to have a meeting a month where there's two, plus a, you know, charrette or something like that, then we're compensated. But, you know, that was my thought. The closest thing to it would be what Jim says, the $250 a month. If I was a taxpayer in Waxahachie Groves, I'd have a hard time with the council members making $500 a month. You know, I mean, that's not saying it's not fair, but, you know, these are tough times. And I'm going to save everything I can for the town. So, I mean, I'll start right there. So if someone's wanting to make a motion, that's how I feel.
I want to make a motion.
Okay, Jim?
I make a motion, we get paid $250 a month for 12-month period, beginning in April, ending following March, and we reconsider whether its payment continues or it is done again, not continues. It's limited to a 12-month period.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second? Was it a second? All right. Then it dies for lack of second. Ron?
I'll make a motion that we do what the fact committee recommended, $500 a month. And like Jim said, at the end of 12 months, if we can't afford it and people don't want us to have it, then we don't get it next year.
All right, so second.
I'll say.
Second by Ryan. Motion, any further discussion?
Can I have some clarification from Ron's motion that ends after 12 months? And if we want it to continue, we have to vote again to start tomorrow. Is that correct or is that not correct?
Well, I didn't mean it like that. In other words, if we vote to end it, okay, in other words, it will continue, but at the end of 12 months, we'll vote as a council. We can do that.
And then further is, what would the vote be to approve it and move forward?
Well, I disagree. First of all, I disagree with 4 votes. If we needed 4 votes, that's fine. But I come from a United States of America that says democracy is 51% wins. It wins in elections, it wins in anything. So it bothers me that everything's required, certain things are required 4 votes in this town. I listen to the people in this town, and I value my decisions and stuff on what the majority of the people in this town thinks. And it's not 75% in Waxahachie Groves, it's 51%. If I can hear what 51% wants, and that's what I'll support. So I would like to see, I don't know if we can do it legally, if we have to have 4 votes. Looks like we're dead in the water, but I'd like to ask the attorney's advice on this.
Is this a 3-2 or?
Tonight is a 3-2 because you've got to give us direction to bring back the ordinance. I'm pretty sure I'm trying to access my charter, of course, technology being what it is. I'm pretty sure you need 4 votes to authorize the compensation.
It is, yeah, it is.
And that's a charter requirement. And the timing, by the way, works because any ordinance you pass can't take effect until the next following election. So the April works for both. If you give direction this evening and we're able to adopt it before the election, and then if you do the annual.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. I don't have any public comments. Yeah, I don't think I've got any. Okay, come on up, Harry.
I just want to know the math don't jive. You're talking $500 a month, $6,000 a year, and over there it shows $475 a month. I'm wondering what's the discrepancy here? It's not adding up.
The discrepancy is the original proposal. The FAAC decided to increase the monthly payment to council.
So we think 6,000 a year per council member, so 30,000. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Opposed.
Opposed. Voting Tom? Okay, passes 3-2.
Okay, Your Honor, the only other input we'll need from, Mike and I will need from the council is this ordinance has to be, if it's going to be adopted, it has to be adopted prior to the election on March 12th. So we have February 5th meeting, we have February 19th meeting, we're going to have a second meeting in February, and then we have the March 5th meeting. We just need some direction in terms of, do you want to try to get it reviewed and have a second meeting in February to do it, or we could do it first meeting in February, and then the second meeting would be, if it passes, would be first meeting in March. So we're just trying to plan for the next 3 potential meetings that we may have.
All right, so we have thoughts?
My thoughts is you make it happen as quick as possible.
Okay, well then if that's the case, you can decide at your next meeting then whether you want to have the second meeting in February or whether we do it as March.
Yeah, we're preparing an ordinance for first reading at the next meeting.
Okay. All right, moving on to public hearing, ordinance second reading.
Mr. Mayor, members of the Town Council, this is second reading and public hearing on ordinance number 2012-13, an ordinance of the Town Council of Los Angeles, Florida, relating to elections, providing for vacancy and candidacy procedures, providing for codification, conflicts, or effective date, to revise the procedure for the town to follow in the event that after the close of qualifying and candidates drop out, leaving either 1 or 0 candidates for a particular office. In the event of leaving 1 person for that office, that person will be deemed elected, and leaving 0 people for that. If there is time, there will be a second qualifying period. If there's time to keep it on the election date to which it was scheduled, so you wouldn't have to have a special election. And if not, that person would be appointed, similar to what you do for a vacancy in office, until the next regularly scheduled meeting, where that seat would also be added to the election slate for the remainder of that term. That's the process, that's the proposal.
All right, what do we need? A motion to accept?
You need a motion, but it's also a public hearing.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion for this procedural thing.
We approve ordinance 2012-13, second reading.
Okay, we have a motion, is there a second? Second by Ryan. Discussion by council. And it's just a procedural way of filling the spot. Got no public comments. Anybody gonna make a comment on this? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Ordinance passed. Moving to 6.
5-0. Thank you.
Ordinance 6.
Okay, Your Honor, this,
It's first reading. Let me read the title, it's first reading, and then we can go with the presentation. This is ordinance 2012-12. An ordinance of the town of Los Angeles Groves, Florida, amending the town of Los Angeles Groves Unified Land Development Code, ULDC, to amend Article 10, entitled Definitions, Abbreviations, and Construction of Terms. Section 10-15, entitled Definitions, add a new definition for residential agricultural sales and services, to amend Article 20, entitled Residential Zoning Districts, Article 20-015, entitled Permitted Uses, to add residential agricultural sales and services as an accessory use subject to Article 80, additional use in the agricultural residential AR zoning district. To amend Article 80, entitled Additional Uses, to add a new section 80-60, entitled Residential Agricultural Sales and Services, to provide conditions on agricultural sales and services uses within the agricultural residential AR zoning district. Providing for conflict, severability, codification, and effective date.
All right. This public hearing also?
It is, because in this particular type of ordinance that changes the list of permitted uses, it requires 2 public hearings, one at first, one at second. We also, I think, have a presentation of staff.
All right.
Okay, Your Honor, this meeting was, your first public hearing was actually on December 4th. However, the council voted to continue the meeting to this date. Specifically, Councilman Golsonet requested some time so that he could talk to the management company and see about some changes that he would like to see in the ordinance. Since that time, the management company has met with Councilman Golsonet. And I want to make it very clear what you have before you in the ordinance that is under consideration is the original ordinance that was presented to you on December 4th. The changes that were proposed do not change the title, so everything is good in terms of us moving forward. However, we have provided some of the alternatives that Councilman Golsonet recommended. And I can tell you from our standpoint, either scenario works. The original ordinance that was submitted to you, or the changes that are highlighted in attachment A and they're highlighted in yellow. So with that background, I'll turn to Jim and let him go through a quick review of the ordinance and resolution.
All right, Jim.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. The staff report on the item is on pages 40 through 48 of the agenda package. The proposed ordinance was reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Board at its meeting on November 8th, and it recommends approval by a 3-0 vote. As Mark said, we brought forth the original proposal to the council at the meeting on December 4th, and the council decided to move forward to this meeting to give council members a little bit more opportunity to review more itself. And we met with Councilman Golsonet last week to discuss his particular concerns. As a result of that, we actually had two versions of the ordinance in the agenda package. The first version is the version that we brought forward to the meeting last month of the council, and that's on pages 61 through 64 of the ordinance, and that's actually attached to the ordinance itself. The second version is on pages 45 through 48 of the agenda package, and that includes the revisions that staff made to address Councilman Golsonet's comments. The changes on those pages in response to Councilman Golsonet are highlighted in yellow. Underlined sections are sections that are added based on his comments, and strike-through sections represent those sections that would be deleted. So if the council decides to approve the unedited version of the ordinance, that would be the version that's on pages 61 through 64. Or alternatively, it could approve the ordinance with some or all of Councilman Golsonet's changes, which are highlighted in yellow. I'm sorry to be to present such a complicated set of alternatives, but I felt that was the easiest way for us to take a look at the ordinance as it was previously written and how the ordinance would be written if we incorporated Councilman's comments. Okay, I have a brief PowerPoint to run through a little bit of history on the ordinance and some of the key components of the ordinance. Ordinance 2012-12 is a town-initiated amendment to the Unified Land Development Code to regulate certain agricultural retail sales activities in town. There are three topics that I'd like to briefly discuss: a little background history on why we're doing this, a discussion of the basic objectives of the ordinance, and then some of the key sections in the ordinance. The issue initially arose as a result of 4 code enforcement complaints of retail sales that paid without an appropriate approval by the town. After receiving a notice of violation at the June 5th council meeting, Gerald and Janet Ike appeared and requested that the council give some consideration for their long-standing existing operation. As a result, the council directed staff to review the matter and propose possible remedies to address the issue. At the June 20th council meeting, staff presented its recommended remedy, which consisted of allowing limited sales of tape and other related products throughout the town, subject to a number of requirements and controls. Some of the controls that were suggested, and these controls were essentially based on council direction that the staff had received previously. First, limit the operation to resident property owners. Second, the business would be vested with the resident operators and not the land. The approval would not run with the land, rather it would run with the homeowners themselves. Third, require a valid business tax receipt, and then council also directed the staff to come up with any other recommendations that it felt appropriate. Based on the direction of the council, staff proceeded to draft code revisions oriented to achieving the following specific objectives. The scope of the ordinance would be limited to the sales of straw, hay, feed, and grain. Existing businesses would be allowed to remain. Certain new businesses would be allowed to be formed subject to some specific conditions. And we would create sunset provisions for the businesses that are tied to homestead exemptions and business tax receipts. If a property is sold in a homestead exemption with essentially lost on the property, any new property owner would have to go through the process to gain approval a second time once he received his homestead exemption. The basic ULDC changes that are being recommended is in addition to section 10-015 of the ULDC, where we are adding a definition of the term residential agricultural sales and services. And then we're also recommending, in addition to ULDC section 20-015, which is the list of permitted uses in the agricultural residential district, we're suggesting that the residential agricultural sales and services uses be permitted as an accessory use, subject to conditions specified in section 80 of the ULDC. Section 80 of the ULDC is the conditional use section, which establishes specific conditions under which certain uses can operate in the town. And then finally, we're recommending the creation of section 80-60 of the conditional use section, which establishes the conditions under which a residential agricultural sales and services use must operate to be appropriate use in the town. The first amendment, as I said, is to create a definition in the definition section of residential agricultural sales and services uses. And I'll read that definition. Places of business as an accessory use to the principal use of single family, engaged in the sale from the premises solely of straw, hay, flake shavings, pellet shavings, feed and grain for livestock and domesticated animals. The definition as staff originally proposed, it did not include flake shavings and pellet shavings. However, the inclusion of those two terms was recommended by the Planning and Zoning Board, so staff went with that recommendation and included those two additional items in the definition. The second amendment of the ULDC is the addition of residential agricultural sales and services businesses as a permitted accessory use in the AR zoning district, subject to the conditions set forth in Article 80. That's essentially adding residential sales and services in the uses table in the agricultural residential district as a conditional accessory use. And then the third amendment is the creation of section 80-60 in the conditional use section of the ULDC, which establishes the conditions under which these types of business must operate in the town. And just to briefly run through some of the major conditions. First of all, the owner of the business must also own and reside on the property. Second, the agricultural sales and services use must be an accessory use to the principal use of single-family dwelling. Third, certain activities due to their potential impacts must also receive special exception approval from the town council. And that we essentially have two items there which would need special exception approval. And those are any of the businesses that use truck trailers and semi-trailers for agricultural sales and services product delivery to the plant. And and also the use of semi-trailers visible from the street. We feel that those two items need to be specifically addressed on a parcel-by-parcel basis by the council in order to be approved in conjunction with these types of business. Also, we're suggesting that...
Question, please.
Sure.
Did you say if they have deliveries by semi, it has to be approved by special exception?
Yeah.
I think that's essentially every one of these operations.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's really, overly, it's going to make it much more complicated, it makes everything more difficult.
Well, the reason we have that in there is because the semi-trailers often have to travel over culverts and across canals. We just want to make sure that the entrances to these properties are safe to accept deliveries in this manner. That's something we can take out of there, but we think it's a safety measure to make sure that the council is assured that products can be safely delivered to parcels by the command.
Tom and Ron.
I think that's excessive on the part of the town to have to worry about that. Other people are supposed to come to the day, semis go back and forth to their streets and other agricultural events.
Ron?
I think it's ridiculous. We don't need to babysit truck drivers. It's been doing it for years. And so far, I don't know of a tractor and trailer that's actually flipped over in the canal. But no, that's just something that we don't need to be concerned about.
Garbage truck.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Any of the provisions